How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball. Welcome back to another round of Premier League predictions. Getting down to the nitty gritty now. 5 game weeks left till the end of the season. And the scoring system as it goes, it's 317 to Sim, 349 to me. It's 5 points for a completely correct score and 1 point for a correct result. Starman, once you pick that man, you can't pick them again for the rest of the season. 5 points for a goal, 2 points for an assist. Let's see how we got on the midweek fixtures. Starting off at the Etihad, it finished 2-1 to Manchester City. Sim went for 3-2. I went for 2-2. Sim gains a point for this one. And yeah, I was actually a little bit disappointed with Aston Villa in this game. I thought Man City were deserved winners. It was a very tight game, to be fair, but the way that Villa put away Newcastle last week, I was just expecting a bit more from an attacking intent from them.
Yeah, and obviously City started strong. A poor mistake, got to say, from Emi Martinez. A lot of people saying that's yet another mistake from him in recent weeks, I feel, from Emi Martinez. And is he a bit overhyped? Is he a guy who's just a penalty-saving shootout merchant? Is he actually as good as people say?
I think he's a very good keeper.
He's got goalkeeper of the year a number of times. But is that just because he turns up in the big moments?
Maybe. Look, he does make a few mistakes from time to time, but I still think if you look at him from start to finish in the season, I think you'll see a very, very good keeper there.
I think he's a good keeper. I think he's got a reputation for being like a world-class keeper. I don't know if he's that good, if he's world-class, but he's a good keeper. And what's also good is, as we said before, he's a big game player. He's a big game goalkeeper, and when you need a player in a shootout, he's the one who usually turns up. So fair play to him. Big controversial point was the penalty. Pep was furious with the penalty given. Did you agree with it?
Well, the Ruben Diaz. I mean, Diaz was trying to pull out the challenge, but he does clip him. I thought in his. I thought he did clip him.
I thought he clipped him, but also he did kind of nick the ball as well. So it was kind of, I think for me, because VAR gave the penalty, didn't they? It wasn't given originally.
Yeah, I don't think VAR should probably get involved, but I think if the ref gives it on the pitch, then I don't think he has a, it's just one of those. I mean, we talk about these kind of things every week, you know what I mean? And I get quite frustrated with it, the way VAR works. But the reality is, I think if there was no VAR and the ref points to the spot, I don't think too many people are arguing about it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think VAR overstepped in this point. I think the referee didn't give it, and I think there's enough. I don't think there's a clear and obvious error, in my opinion. I don't think VAR should be getting involved in that. So I think Man City kind of feel can have a right to feel a bit aggrieved, but at the end of the day, I can understand why a penalty was given, would have been given if it was, but I don't like VAR getting involved in a challenge where Diaz does nick the ball away from Ramsey, albeit he does maybe clip him just before. You know what, though? The only player that was looking to hurt Man City was Marcus Rashford. He gets in behind in the first minute, should have done better. He's the one that puts away the penalty. I think Rashford has been doing so well for Villa. Ollie Watkins, again, unlucky to miss out in the starting lineup. And the one player I want to talk about with Aston Villa is Yuri Tielemans. What a season this guy is having. And I feel like towards the end of the season, he's just getting better and better and better. A few years ago, in his last season for Leicester, everyone was saying, is this guy actually that good? Well, I think it's clear he is that good. He's been phenomenal, hasn't he, this season? I think definitely one of the midfielders of the year. He's been so consistent. And I think one of the things that people questioned was, as much as we all know he's got quality passing-wise and, his ability to shoot from range, all these kind of things, does he have the physicality to really compete at this league consistently? Well, this season, especially, I think it's definitely helped him having someone like Onana next to him. I think he's really taken his game up a level since he's got that protection. And with it, he's become unbelievable. And he's one of the best midfielders in the league this season.
100%. Really is. And I think on the balance of play, I think Man City just about edged it, but it was a very tight game.
And brilliant assist from Doku right at the end. Yeah, 90th minute, wasn't it?
Yeah,
brilliant
Nunez
assist
in the 90th minute wins the game for Man City. And yeah, I just felt like, apart from Rashford, Unai Emery should have thrown a bit more caution to the wind and actually asked Villa to attack the Man City side, who we know defence ain't that good.
Another game where Watkins doesn't get that many minutes as well.
Yeah,
so
that's what I just said.
Yeah, he'd be a bit frustrated, wouldn't he?
100%. And he's been such a good player for them over the past couple of weeks from the bench or whenever he starts. And it just feels like something's a bit odd there. I feel like Unai's pushing him out the door a little bit.
A lot of Villa fans are saying he's going to be leaving at the end of the season, which I wonder if they'll replace him adequately, because, you know, they could get a decent fee, but I think for whatever they sell him for, I doubt they'll get someone as good as him for the price they'll get. So it'll be interesting to what they do. But in terms of the top 4 race, brilliant win for City.
Massive.
It puts them in 3rd place now. In terms of clear of 6th place, they're 4 points clear with obviously 4 games to go. So it's very, very tight. Definitely not over, but massive win for them, especially over a rival.
Yeah, Man City have got Wolves and Southampton in the next 2 games. So they've got to take 6 points. And if they do that, I think it's nailed on.
I think they've got a chance of catching Arsenal, which we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah, maybe. But it is 6 points. So let's move on to Arsenal, because it finished 2-2 with Arsenal against Crystal Palace at the Emirates. Sim went for 1-1. I went for 2-1 to Arsenal. Sim does get the point, but I was minutes away from a 5-pointer in this game. But with the help of Saliba and Odegaard, Mateta, what a finish that was in the last minute of the game. Sees David Raya off his line, kind of loops it over him. And Glasner said in the post-match as well that, you know, we knew about David Raya always coming off his line, and they planned for that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they planned to capitalise off a Saliba mistake, but as soon as he did, what a finish. And you don't associate Mateta with that kind of finish. You associate him with being in the box, getting on the end of things with his head and stuff like that, being a good finisher inside the box. But he showed, well, if you give him half a chance as well from outside the box, he can be deadly, and brilliantly chip finish. And as well, Eze's goal in the first half, a bit of a Beckham-Scholesy kind of element to it. Brilliant ball to the edge of the area, and bam, a volley from a corner. Excellent finish. And Arsenal pegged back apparently for the 9th time this season.
Yeah.
They've given up a result when leading, which is apparently they've drawn 9 games, which is level with the Spurs team of 2008.
Wow.
Which is the one-day Ramos Spurs team, which was known for being an inconsistent team.
And also 13 draws for Arsenal this season, which is very similar to Spurs' Poch's team, you know? In that year when we finished 2nd or 3rd, I think we drew a hell of amount of games as well.
They are Poch's Spurs. That's
Apart
literally
from
who
they've
they
won
are.
the FA Cup.
Doesn't matter. They are pretty much Poch's Tottenham. They're pretty much a carbon copy.
Yeah, I think they're a better version though.
Probably slightly, but
They're
there's
a better
not
version
much in it.
Because they've had 3 seasons of finishing 2nd now.
Well, they might not finish 2nd this year.
Yeah, but I mean they've been 2nd majority of the season.
Poch's Spurs finished 3rd, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. It's not exactly, you're splitting hairs, I think, at this point.
Well, you say we're splitting hairs, but the one criticism that Poch's Spurs did is that they never got over the line and won a trophy. Arsenal have won a trophy under Arteta.
They won a trophy right at the beginning when it wasn't his team. But yeah, look, they won the trophy, fair play to them. They won an FA Cup, and that's fair play. I'm not taking it away from them. I'm just saying it's very similar. I
wouldn't be so sure in saying that when they've got a Champions League semi-final and potential final to play.
And where did Poch get?
To the final, but I'm saying if they win it, then you look like you might have a bit of egg on your face having with these comments.
Well, then I don't think they will win. If they win it, fair enough. I'm not happy to, but if they win it, then I will have egg on my face. But I think they're very similar to Poch's Tottenham. They are
similar. I don't think pretty much so. They are similar. Like I said, there are similarities to draw from it, 100%. But I do think they're the better version. And the difference between Spurs' Poch and Arteta's Arsenal is that they ain't going to sack Arteta anytime soon, and the project's going to keep going, and they're going to keep ploughing hella loads of money into it. So that's the difference.
That's probably true. I agree with that. But in terms of this season, obviously this draw is frustrating for them. We know the title's gone anyway. Liverpool only need a point, but I do think there's a good chance, not a good chance, but a decent chance that City catch them with the fixtures remaining, because they've got some. First of all, they've got a semi-final. In between that, they've got Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Liverpool in their next 3. In between that semi-final, whereas, as you said, City have Southampton and Wolves, and I think some other I think Fulham. So I think if you look at the fixtures, I mean, they could easily finish below 2nd if they're not careful.
Yeah, I mean, games are running out, to be fair. I think it all depends on how Arsenal do in the Premier League from now to the end of the season. I'm looking at their fixtures. Bournemouth at home, sandwiched in between the PSG games, so I can see a draw in that game for sure. Liverpool away, you never know what's going to happen in that game. Liverpool, the title would have been wrapped up by then, so I mean...
It's also after PSG, right?
after both legs. So you never know with that game. I mean, it could go either way. Like no team are going to have that's going to be like the most dead rubber game ever. That Liverpool Arsenal game. So it could be anything. Newcastle Arsenal. You know, Newcastle going to have it's at Arsenal. Newcastle going to have more motivation to win that game. And then the last game, Southampton away, probably whatever motivations are, it's going to be a dead rubber, and Arsenal will probably take the 3 points. So it just depends in these dead rubber games which way it swings. That's all it depends on.
I agree. I'm just saying they've got a lot tougher fixtures. They could easily finish third if they're not careful.
Yeah, but look, second or third doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter, but I'm just saying in a season where City have been so disastrous, to finish below them would show that everyone thought they'll be well clear of them. They wouldn't, and could potentially finish below them in the end.
Yeah, could do, but like Spurs with all our baskets in the Europa League, all their eggs are in the Champions League baskets. So
Absolutely,
I don't think it matters for them really at the.
Well, it doesn't, but I'm just saying if they weren't to win the Champions League and end up finishing below City, that would be quite interesting, I would say, considering the seasons both teams have had.
Do you think there's any significance to that?
Well, when it comes to next season, about who in terms of having that confidence to, going on to win the league again, if they would have finished above City and shown that there's a difference between them, then I think that would have given them more confidence next season into convincing people they're going to be above City. If City end up finishing above them after the season they've had, right, it just goes to show that even if after a disastrous season, they still couldn't finish above them. I think that'll be not significant, but it'll be just a fairly interesting outcome.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens from now until the end of the season. I still think Arsenal will just about get over the line and finish above City.
Should do.
Yeah. But look, let's get into our Premier League predictions for the weekend. Chelsea against Everton. Sim has gone for 0-0. I have gone for 1-1. I can't see Chelsea being good enough to beat this Everton side, who are going to come to frustrate Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Look, Chelsea got a good win last week against Fulham, snatch and grab right at the end. But I can't see them being able to consistently break down this Everton side. Yeah,
I went for 0-0. I think Chelsea are going to be frustrated. I think Everton as well, I feel like they're going to sit back and not going to be too adventurous. So I see a very frustrating 0-0 draw for Chelsea here.
Brighton West Ham up next. What have you gone for? You've gone well. We've both gone for the same scoreline here in 2-1 to Brighton. I mean, West Ham are just shocking, aren't they?
They're in terrible form. They're just playing so badly at the moment under Potter. They don't really seem that great attacking, and also defensively, they don't seem fantastic. Apart from the Arsenal game, they just haven't been that great defensively either. So they haven't really got going. So I look at this Brighton team. I know Brighton are in bad form as well, but I think even in this bad form, they're showing a bit more than West Ham. So I think with their attacking talent, I've gone for them to shade it 2-1 here.
Yeah. Brighton haven't won a game since early March, which is mad. Early March.
They're on great form. They won 7 in a row.
It's just, I can't believe, this is the way Brighton season's gone, hasn't it? It's just been so patchy. They've gone on mad streaks, winning and losing. And now they're on that losing streak, but I think this will be the turnaround for them. Newcastle against Ipswich. Tim's gone for 3-0. I have gone for 4-1. I can't see anything but a drubbing at the hands of Newcastle against Ipswich. And look, Newcastle have been really good of late. Very disappointing last time out against Aston Villa. But I expect them to right those wrongs against a relegated Ipswich.
Well, they will be relegated if they lose this.
Yeah.
They're pretty much relegated anyway. But I can't see Ipswich doing anything in this game. I'll be very surprised if they go to St James's Park and do anything but concede quite a lot of goals. I haven't gone for them to score either. So I've gone for 3-0 to Newcastle and get themselves back on track in that top 4 race.
Southampton, Fulham, both gone to the same scoreline here in 2-1 to Fulham.
Yeah, last time actually Fulham played Southampton and finished 0-0, so can't rule out anything, but I've gone for Fulham to go there and get the win. They're the type of team, though, that will probably struggle in this game a bit and kind of have to pick their moments. We know Southampton kind of did quite well against them last time, and Fulham are just not the most fluid side at times. They're very tactical, but I think it'll be enough to get them over the line here, so I've gone for 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, 2-1 for Fulham is like a standard away result for them, and I think Southampton will cause them problems, but I just feel like, quality will tell by the end of the game. And Southampton, I envisage them maybe even go 1-0 up, having a bit of a fast start to the game. But then as the game wills on, I think Fulham will wear them down and get the 2 goals. So 2-1 to Fulham. Wolves against Leicester. Sim's gone for 3-1 to Wolves. I've gone for 2-0. Obviously, Cunha back in the side. Strand Larson having an unbelievable season. I think those two alone has got enough quality to beat this Leicester side, who are the worst form team in the Premier League by far. Ruud van Nistelrooy, I don't know what's going on with him, but he seems like one of the worst Premier League managers of all time. And yeah, you can't see anything but a Wolves win. And I don't think it will be like a smashing by Wolves in terms of the number of goals that they scored, but I can see it being convincing.
Yeah, I think a comfortable Wolves win. Leicester already down. That could obviously take the shackles off. We know Jamie Vardy just announced he's leaving at the end of the season, so he'll probably want a good send-off for the end of the season, but I don't think it'll happen in this game, and I think Wolves are just on such a high, on such momentum at the moment. 5 wins on the trot. It's incredible for a team in their kind of position to be on that kind of form, so fair play to them, and I think the run is going to continue here, and I've gone 3-1.
So how many is it in a row? 5?
5 in a row.
So this will be 6 if
This will be 6.
Wow.
Which is mad.
Next up is Bournemouth against Manchester United. Sim has gone for 2-1 to Bournemouth. I've gone for 1-1 here.
Yeah, Bournemouth not in great form. Man United as well, not in great form. I've just gone for Bournemouth to shade it because Man United, Amorim have said that he's going to basically be playing the kids at this point. They've got a massive semi-final against Athletic Bilbao coming up in midweek. And I think Bournemouth, albeit not in great form, I think the way they play can cause enough chaos to make sure that Man United are as unsettled as possible, and I could just see them getting the win over the line despite not being in great form. So I've gone for 2-1 Bournemouth.
Yeah, I kind of would agree with you under normal circumstances, but Bournemouth are just not playing the way that they want to play, and they haven't done for some time. They seem to have really run out of steam this season, and I feel like the 1-0 victory that they got last week was undeserved, and they just about got over the line. And I'm looking at these two sides, both of them I think have checked out a bit in the Premier League this season. Ruben Amorim, like you say, has already said that he's going to be playing the kids in the Premier League. So I feel like this is just going to be a bit of a nothing game, and it's going to finish 1-1. Couldn't really split either of the sides. And we're going to finish off on Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, on the game where Liverpool could seal the Premier League title with just 1 point. Sim's gone for 4-2 to Liverpool. I've gone for 3-2 to Liverpool. I think it's going to be a really open game. I think Liverpool, you know, they know the title's pretty much wrapped up at this point, so they're going to go out there, just try and put in a performance on for the fans with no jeopardy on it whatsoever. Spurs, on the other hand, they know that the next game after this is the Europa League semi-final, so I expect quite a few changes in this game for Spurs, but I feel like it's just going to be a very open game of football, end-to-end, goals either side, and I think Spurs can get a few goals, but I can't see them winning the game, so 3-2.
Yeah, and I know Liverpool are limping over the line, but they can obviously confirm the league title with this victory, or even with a draw. So I do expect a buoyant atmosphere at Anfield. I expect them to maybe up their game just a tad, and obviously Tottenham will be probably willing participants in this game, considering the way they've been this season and the way they usually play. So as much as I do expect a bit of toing and froing, I think Liverpool are going to end up well on top, going to end up scoring quite a few goals, and I've gone for a 4-2 win here.
All right, star men. Sim's gone for Matthias Cunha. I don't think he scored since, he did against Spurs, but he didn't score in his last game against Manchester United when I own a star man. So
home to Leicester.
Classic that it'll come this week.
Yeah, come on. Cunha, we know what a great player he is, and he didn't score against United because they want to sign him, so he was showing them mercy, but no mercy for Leicester.
But I'm going for a man bang in form right now, Harvey Barnes. What an end to the season this guy is having. Seriously, unbelievable. How many goal contributions is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goal contributions in his last 7 games or 8 games. There is a bit of Eddie Howe roulette potential here because Anthony Gordon is back and he's fit. So there is a chance for him to start, but I think with the form that Barnes is in, you just can't leave him out the side.
No, I can't see him leaving him out unless he plays. No, I can't. I think but he might play him on the right. That's the only thing.
Murphy's also in unbelievable form.
So maybe Gordon will be left out. Whoever, I don't think Barnes is going to be the one left out.
Yeah. So look, Barnes against Matthias Cunha as the star man. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Will I extend my lead, or will Sim do a bit of catching up this week with 5 game weeks left to go? But thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll catch you next time.